MrHolster here. Yeah, I'm going to do this quick video. If you saw my video yesterday, thank you for watching it. I've got the Wilson mags in question, or one of the Wilson mags in question here. The first thing I did when I got up this morning is start playing with them, and yeah, they still wouldn't drop free out of that 1911 carry SIG, that kind of odd blue colored thing. And so I decided, I'm going to try them in my stainless steel SIG, because I'm thinking, well, they're binding. Maybe it's the gun, not the mag, although the other two mags didn't bind at all and drop free. That's what initially makes me think it's mag fault. So I put them in the stainless full-size one I have, and they drop free like nothing. Nobody's business. Put them in my Dan Wesson stainless, and they drop free like nothing. So I'm thinking, well, why are they not dropping free in the other one? Well, you see, this is the deal. Not everything new is good. Matter of fact, I usually run away from stuff that's new, because I usually find it not to be good. It just is a cheaper version of imitation, a cheaper imitation of what was good once. Any rate, these new finishes, that brings me to my topic of conversation, the new finishes nowadays, these PVC finishes. The old finishes, you'd have bone case hardening finish, or you'd have a blued finish, where it's basically an acid bath. The metal goes into to blue it. And yeah, those finishes get wear from holster wear and honest wear from use, and you get bare spots on the metal. And these new finishes don't do that. They wear much better in that regard. But what they do is chip really bad and easy, and real easy. But the other thing they do is they're a finish as in a paint. They don't sink into the metal. They apply that finish over the metal. Well, in order to do that, your tolerances have to be looser, because otherwise, if they weren't, if your tolerances were really tight in that slide to frame fit and you've sprayed paint in there, it ain't going to work. So that tells me what? That tells me that there's not enough space, as much space in that mag well on that painted 1911 carry as there is in the stainless. But at any rate, what I did is, the finish was kind of rough. It almost looked like a galvanized finish, and it's a stainless mag, so I just put Fritz polish on it and the polishing wheel and polished her up and put her in that 1911 that was painted, the 1911 carry SIG I had on the show yesterday, and they dropped free. That solved the problem. The funny part is, I was upset because I just wanted to test the mags out. They're not for that gun. They're for the stainless steel full size, because there's 7-round mags, and the base plate on it is much smaller. You see, the base plate on all the Sig Sauer magazines is for an 8-round magazine that's designed to be put in a gun with a mag well, with a flared mag well, versus that stainless, which has no flared mag well. So these go in there where they tuck up inside the mag well a little bit on a gun with a mag well. The one without a mag well, they stick out a little bit, but not as much as that 8-round one did that goes in the other guns with a flared mag well. So, yeah, doesn't stick out as far when it's sitting there. Much better way to go. That's what I wanted them for, and that's why I asked that for my wife for Christmas. So anybody who thinks I was dumping on the Wilson mags, I wasn't. I was just disappointed and confused as to why they weren't working. But they are a little bit wider on the top than the other two mags. That's why the other two mags were working. But I don't think they're out of spec one bit. I think it's the paint on the gun that was hanging it up. So there you go. Nobody's to blame for anything, and that's the way life works. Nobody's to blame, but you get the right sort of circumstances and things together. That's why you go out and shoot your gun before you need it and work these things out, because you can take something that's perfectly good like this Wilson mag and something's perfectly good like that Sig Sauer 1911 carry and put them together and they don't work. Yeah, you need to find that out ahead of time. But yeah, these mags are just fine. No need to send them back or anything else, and yeah, just get your equipment set up and run it correctly and where it works, and there you go. That's what that's about. That's what this is about. Before I leave you, let's see how much. Oh, I haven't even wasted 5 minutes of your life. Jack would be upset. He expects me to shoot for at least 7 minutes each time. I'm going to talk to you about my Patreon page. Back when I was diagnosed with cancer, before I found that out, I just set up a Patreon page where I was trying to get some funding for my channel, because my channel was basically doing the videos and buying the ammo. I was basically sucking up my funds for my horses. So you can look at it one of two ways. Either I set up the Patreon to pay for my vet bills and my farrier and feeding the horses, or I paid for it so I could do these videos and quit stealing money from my horse fund. So it kind of evolved from that into a way to stay on here, because I didn't have any spare cash at all. I couldn't steal anything from anything because everything was going to pay the medical bills. And fortunately, Salty Shellback ran a little, yeah, I don't even, I hesitate to even know what to call it. So he ran some videos and ran people over to my Patreon channel and really kicked it off and got it going. And the Patreon channels made the difference. If I wouldn't have had that Patreon channel in the last year and a half while I've been fighting cancer, I wouldn't have had this. I would have shut this down. Money is tight enough that I shut down all my websites last week or the week before, because I just couldn't justify paying for them anymore, because I couldn't even go out and work, because I'm not supposed to be out there intermingling with people if I can avoid it, because of my problem with my immune system due to the daily chemo. At least that was our plan with my wife and I, so I haven't been doing anything that might come off the website. And after having that website for 20 years, the business website, I had to let it go. I had no choice. It's just plain and simple. So with that being said, does not mean that MrHolster is out looking for money or fundraisers. And it's been suggested several times in the last year and a half I could do a GoFundMe, or somebody go start a GoFundMe. See, I don't even understand this concept of GoFundMes. Much less do I understand the concept that someone else can actually start a GoFundMe for somebody else. So I think it's time that MrHolster, if you want to support me and you want to help out with my problems in life, just go to my Patreon channel and become a Patreon. You can see the few videos I post there and my radio show I do every month on there, and you can talk to me through there, and you'll know that you're supporting these, and you can watch these videos knowing you're part of it. And my Patreon channel, I have 3 tiers set up. The first level is Stumpy, if you're familiar with that movie, the John Wayne movie with Stumpy. And that's a $1 level. The second tier is Dude, Dean Martin. You can't beat Dean Martin. That's a $3 level. And the third tier, the highest tier, is John Wayne's, which was Chance in that movie. And that's $5. You can support me there if you want to support me. But when I got cancer, my wife and I talked about this before, we just don't believe in going out and begging for money or having a GoFundMe page or anything like that. So that's why I haven't cooperated with anybody who wants to run a fundraiser for me. And I thank people like Salty Shellback for channeling the people to my channel, because that's made a world of difference, and the Weasel, the Crazy Scotsman, for setting up his deal with the t-shirts, where the profit from the t-shirts was a gift from the company that runs the t-shirt company. Ingenious deal, and my hat's off to the Weasel. And that helped an unbelievable amount, because our bank account was at 0 last year. Fortunately, this year, coming into it again, this is what happens when you get a disease like cancer. You got to pay the deductible over and over and over again till the day you die, pretty much. Unless you have the type that you can. But I'm still going to have to go in and every year and get a PET scan that costs $7,800. So when you're that doesn't get us up anywhere near where the insurance company kicks in. So that being said, this year we were fortunate coming into this year by my wife, her car, which was a Honda Element. They didn't make them anymore, but she had one the last year it was made, and it was a very nice car. It was the best car we had, without question. And, after that, Jack's race car, that I don't even know what year it is, that Ford Focus, it's old. And it's got a lot of miles on it. That was the next best car we had. And after that, you got my truck that's sitting in the barn and it needs a new fuel pump. That's 20 years old. My GM truck. She was coming home from her mom's up the interstate, and a deer ran in front of the car and totaled it. And it was a godsend. I'm sure God decided that, sacrifice that deer. Because we got the check from the insurance company for it, and Jack said, why don't you just drive my car and not get another car, and you'll have the money to pay for Scott's cancer bills for the next year. So that's what we've done. So we're not sitting here begging people for money. We don't believe in having a GoFundMe page, but if you want to support my channel, that certainly does support me. And I don't feel like I'm begging for money there, because I feel like I'm giving you something. So what little experience I have, be it good, bad, or indifferent, you get to experience it over there on the Patreon page, and you get some benefit from it that I feel is worth $1, or $3, or maybe even $5. So I'll leave you with that, because the never-ending saga of MrHolster and his cancer, and the shortage on money is kind of MrHolster's saga, not everybody else's. And frankly, it just stresses me out to hear everybody else talk about it all the time. Because I try not to talk about it, except for every now and then I like to give people an update and let them know where I'm at, just because if nothing else, it might get somebody else out there to start taking paying a little more attention to themselves and catching it before it's too late. So there you go. I'm going to leave you at that, because right now, I do my videos. I got my animals to take care of and the stuff around here, and doing my chemo. And quite frankly, I can't even watch everybody's videos I used to watch anymore, because I just can't do it. That's the way it is. I'm lucky if I can get out there and get the work done around here to a tune of about 4 hours a day worth of work before I'm exhausted. So I'm going to leave you now, knowing full well that I've wasted over 11 minutes of your life you'll never get back again. Jack's going to be so proud of me, because he's got a 7-minute. If you don't get at least 7 minutes of their life, you're just playing games. That's what he said. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, for MrHolster, Jack, and Pepper. You met Pepper yesterday. Go out and stay safe. Let's see. Yeah, that's 13 minutes and 40 seconds of your life you'll never, ever, ever get back.